Good afternoon, happy Tuesday, and welcome to Facebook Live. So it is always fun to be with you as we are going to look at some happy mail and we're going to make a project together. So it should be a fun little time to hang out. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Hearing myself echo. It works. Okay, so here we are. How are you on this Tuesday afternoon or evening or Wednesday or whenever you're watching the video? Let me know how you're doing. So here, it is now what, the 18th? 2 weeks ago, we got some new products this month that came out, and I'm going to show you one of those stamp sets and some paper today that we're going to make our project out of, Creative Haven and Hobby Haven paper. If you ordered my product shares for the online exclusives, they are on their way to you. So you can look forward to getting some of this paper as well as some other fun products for you to take a look at. And let's see here, what else? And the 12 Days of Christmas boxes. I think I have 2 left. So if you were on the fence about getting your 12 Days of Christmas boxes, don't wait. You're going to want to order because we made 100, and I believe, I got to check my count, but I believe there are 2 left. And we start shipping those tomorrow as well. So a lot of shipping happening right now. It's a super exciting time in the studio. I love it when I have to take multiple trips to the post office. Well, not me. My dad does most of the post office runs these days, and I love it when I have to load them up multiple times. So a lot of fun stuff going out in the mail right now. So, okay, I think we are ready. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to say before I put it down, but I think we're ready. So I'm going to turn it around so that we can put this down here. I'll pull that down just so I can center myself. Okay, but before we get into this project, excuse me, let me uncover. I've got some happy mail here. Oh, I do know there was one more thing I wanted to say because we are, let's see, just over halfway through the month, and it's been so fun to see you guys participating in the 30 Days of Thanks challenge. So I posted this every day with the different cards, but this is the challenge graphic that we're using this month. And so each day, these are just suggestions in case you're trying to think of maybe people you haven't thought to connect with or you haven't thought to send a card to. This 30 Days of Thanks challenge gives you some maybe new ideas of people that you might want to send cards to this month. So you're welcome to do it in any order. You can, make up some of your own. But this was just a fun little starting point to say, okay, can we send some cards every day this month to people that we are thankful for? So we are here on the 18th and sending a card to somebody who inspires you. So you can think about that, and maybe you'll make today's layout and send it to that person. All right. So let me see here. I've got a couple of cards to show. This one is from Susan Rick in Florida. And it says, "Hello, sweet friend." Super cute here. Let's see here. How does this open? There we go. Oh, it's a little stuck to itself. There we go. Hello, sweet friend. Oh my gosh. What a beautiful way to preserve the scenery on the paper. And that's gold embossed. So if you're wondering about the color there, that's gold embossing. So super cute card. Okay, and then I've got one from Vesta Streeb, who I can see is on our video today. Hi, Vesta. Let's see, gotta get the envelope open. There we go. So here we go. It looks like an easel card. So it's going to open like this, but then she's got an easel card so we can set it up. You can kind of see from the side. What a fun little thing to have on your desk like that. That's super cute. Thank you, Vesta. And then I have a a package here from Gail Seawick. Let's see what she made. This is, oh, what a fun container. So there is some biscotti, but look at the little holder for it. Using some fall paper here. There's some pumpkin spice tea back there, some Ghirardelli chocolates. Let's see, what is this? Ooh, look at that. What a cute little spoon. But what a fun way to package something all together. And this is, well, it looks like a beehive. I wonder, is that honey? It's really cute. It might be. Oh, look at that. I bet it is, because it looks like something you'd like stir into your tea. So I'm thinking that might be like honey. I'm a huge tea person, so I love that. And it looks like she sent a card with it. Let's see that. And it says, "You are such a blessing." And this is what the leaves have looked like around my area for the last few weeks. And she's got her message in there. But what a cute card. Oh my goodness, I love it. So just a fun way to package your stuff. If you're looking to, this would be a fun little thing to have next to place settings. If you're hosting a meal, or even if you're not hosting, you could bring these to the house where you're having, a meal. And this is, you can customize this to the person, if they like coffee or tea or hot cocoa or, anything like that. So what a fun little holder. So thank you. Thank you, Gail. That is really cute. Okay, let me move these over here. There we go. I finally cleaned my desk, so I have a lot less piles to the sides of me right now. It's a lot less dangerous. All right, so I am going to be using this new set that came out this month called Creative Haven. And there's some coordinating dies here as well, although I'm not using those in today's card because I'm going to use some of the ephemera that comes in the Designer Series paper pack. But we are going to use a couple of these stamps. So let me pull those out here. We're going to use this one, and we'll use this one. So one of them says, "So happy to have you in my life." And the other one says, "You deserve all the good things." Okay, so we'll just block both of those so we can set this aside. Now, this Creative Haven also coordinates with a few other products. One of them is this Hobby Haven paper. And I only have 6x12 sheets here with me right now, but that actually probably makes it easier to hold on camera. So let me just show you some of this new paper. So we've got, being called Hobby Haven, you can kind of look at this as a whole bunch of like hobbies, main hobbies that people might have. So we've got for the book lovers, and you got a fun little background there. This is like the self-care paper. So get your little skin rollers and night masks and all sorts of things on that. And on the back, you've got this fun pattern. Then you've got for the bakers and cookers. I don't think that's the right word. The kitchen people in your life. You've got that pattern. This is the one we're going to be using here today, is the chairs. So you'll see more of that. But it's got the petal pink on the back side. And then we've got the sewing and the yarn and the paint and the, let's see, there's ironing and scissors. See, there's so much on that one. So I'm going to be using the back side of this one today. I think, let's see, make sure I didn't miss one. I think that was all of the patterns. Let's see, we did the baking, the chairs. Yeah, that's all of them. It's just repeats of the same things. But that is the Hobby Haven paper. So I'm going to use a couple of different patterns here in my card, and then I am pairing it with Garden Green and Coastal Cabana. And then this designer series paper also comes with 2 sheets of die cuts. So all sorts of different things, like there's a a mannequin and a sewing machine, and there's borders, and there's coffee cups, and there's an artist easel, lots and lots of different die cuts that come in that paper. Okay, so let's start with, let's set this here. We're going to do some paper cutting. So I'm going to use Garden Green. I'm going to be kind of alternating my colors here. So Garden Green, we're going to create our base to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So we got that. And then I need a piece of Coastal Cabana that is 4 by 5 1/2. So 4 by 5 1/2. Okay. And then I will also need Garden Green, and this one is going to be 3 1/4 by 5. So 3 1/4 by 5. And then we're going to score this at 7/8. I know it's a weird score line, but it's what I needed it to be. So 7/8 here. Okay. All right. I think that's all the cardstock I need. So let me cut designer series paper. For this piece, we are going to do 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Let's see here. 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Okay. Now, the reason I cut it all together, my particular pattern doesn't matter, but depending on the pattern, we want to keep our design flowing through this whole piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off 1 inch from each end. Again, my pattern doesn't actually matter because of how it's, just a random pattern. But I'll go ahead and flip it around, and we'll keep it in order, just because it's helpful to remember that if you're using paper that's like a scene or something like that. So we just cut 1 inch off of each end. And then I think the last piece I need, I forgot to write down my measurement. Let's see. It would be, we're gonna figure this out on the fly. So it's going to be, I'm using, bear with me just a second. We're gonna do 3 inches and 4, let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to talk out loud and say this, but I don't want to mess you up if you're cutting along with me. So I forgot to write this down. And I'm like, oh, I need that panel. You know what? We're going to wait on this piece just because once I get the rest of it kind of working, then I can measure the section that I need because I forgot to write down the numbers. So we'll just start over here for now. Okay. So we're going to take our Coastal Cabana. Now, I was stressing the fact that I wanted this to be 5 1/2. A lot of times we say 4 by 5 1/4, and this one's not. I do want it to go all the way end to end. So we're going to use that. But I can already see that my papers are a little bit off. Must have been a little bit off on my bases. So I need to trim this, or it's going to mess up our next step. So I'm just going to hold this here and trim off my little excess so that they are the same width. You know, sometimes when you cut your papers in half, you get just a tiny wee bit off. So then we gotta cut that sliver off. Okay, so now we're gonna have our two pieces here. But before we adhere those together, we've got some work to do. So we're gonna start with our 3 panels. And I'm gonna be putting them on here. And the way that I like to do this is I'm just gonna start with one. And I am gonna put it over here, and I'm gonna look for even borders on my 3 sides. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. And then that'll make it easy to just center the final panel. There we go. So last but not least, we'll add this here. There we go. Okay. So this garden green is the one that we did a score line for. And let me find a bone folder here. A nice good creasing. So this is the panel where I need that other piece of designer series paper. So let me grab, so we've got that. Let's just do our quick measurements here. So I'm gonna want 3 1/8 by 4. So 3 1/8 by 4. That's the measurement I forgot to write down. So now that we know, I'll bring this back over here. And I'm just kind of eyeing my design here where I want to do it. So we're going 3 1/8 tall. Trying to see if there's any way to preserve both chairs. I don't think there is. Well, we're going to try something here. I'm going to cut just a little bit off the bottom. Let's see if we can keep a couple of the chairs. Not quite. We'll get some of it. All right, so 3 1/8. But I really want the blue chair because it ties in so well with the back with the other designer series paper that we're doing. But wouldn't you know, I just cut that wrong. So let's try this again. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna go right below the blue chair. But I did the wrong height. So the height of this is 4 inches. So we are going to keep our 2 chairs. We'll just fancy that. Okay, so 4 inches high, 3 1/8 inches wide. So let's see here. What do I want to keep for my 3 1/8? I really want this chair. And I like this plant next to it. So what if we turn it around? All that work to keep both chairs, and it's still not going to do what I want. That's okay. All right, I like that. So again, I was trying to keep this chair because it ties in with, when we bring back our other piece, it ties in really well with the designer series paper that we have on our card. And of course, the garden green is an easy choice because of all of the plants. All right, so we'll go ahead and put this panel on the front flap. And then we can adhere just the flap. So I'm going to want to center this on this panel. I'm going to center it right here. And then I will fold the flap over the back. And we've got that here. So now you're going to see how your card opens. And then we'll go ahead and adhere this to our front panel. So we'll add this. Now remember, this goes all the way end to end. So we're just going to make it nice and even, top and bottom. But it goes all the way end to end on our card. Okay? So here we've got our little fun fold card. Now I chose to do the same for the background and my fold because I like the way it kind of melts into each other and just looks like one cohesive look. So, all right, I have picked out some of the ephemera for this card, and I am going to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to use Secret C. So I'm going to do So Happy to Have You in My Life, and I'm just going to do that right here on the right-hand side of this piece. Kind of like the ladies are talking to each other here. And on this one, I'm going to use You Deserve All the Good Things. Okay, so let's see. You deserve all. We'll do You Deserve All. Yeah, I'll do that first. We're going to do a little bit of masking. And let me grab a Post-it note here. And I'll do my... Oh, where'd my piece go? Oh, there it is. It's on my block. I was like, oh no, where'd my die cut go? So these are from the paper, from the designer series paper. Oh, these words are really close to each other. So we'll see if I can mask this well. Here. Just press that down. Okay, I'm choosing to do my second line first. So I'll just take that off. And put that there in the middle. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and clean this off because I think it's just going to be easiest to start fresh with a nice clean stamp. Okay. So then we'll cover up the good things. And let's see, You Deserve All. This might be one of the harder maskings that I've done with this stamp, just because the words are so tight on this stamp. But you can mask anything you want. With a little bit of patience, we can mask it all. Now, you could also just cut your stamp apart if you prefer to do it that way. That's always an option as well. But I want to leave it whole. Okay. So we've got You Deserve All the Good Things. So let's take our card and I want to put this up here. Excuse me. We're going to have it hang off just a little bit. And so I'm going to dimensionalize this. And we'll just add a dimensional right there. I don't want to cover up too much of the pretty plants here. There we go. So we've got that, and then we'll open up our card here. And I thought it'd be fun to just create like a little collage trio of things in here. So I'm gonna see if I can, yep, that'll work. So we're just gonna put those together like the one lady is saying to the other lady. Just appreciating our friends with this card. And so then I'm gonna put my little plant here underneath, helping tie in my color combination. And I just think it's easier to play with adhering those together before we stick it on our card. Now, the thing about this designer series paper, this background, is that it's actually light enough that you could sign your name here. So this whole middle panel is going to be covered. So now you can just sign your name to your friend. You could write your friend's name up here. You could sign your name here. If you have more to say, you could always write on this upper panel. You could put, a piece of white up here. Do white the same size as this DSP, and then you could write more of a message there. But I thought it'd be really fun just to have just a little space. You want to tell your friend you appreciate them, but you don't have a lot of maybe you don't have time to write a message, or you're just not sure what else to say. You just want them to know you appreciate them. So we have this cute card, and I can't forget to add, where's my, let's see here. We'll add, I'm trying to see. Well, no, I don't like those colors of bling. I need to find some bling to add to this. So I'll have to look. I'll have to look for some because I forgot to grab some. But maybe we'll find a little bit of bling to add on here too. Maybe just some rhinestones, just some shimmery embellishments. But I'd love to see your version of this card. So it'll be posted over in the community group so that you can add your version for the creative challenge this week. So I appreciate you guys tuning in for Coffee and a Card this week, and I look forward to seeing your projects. Don't forget to encourage one another and build each other up. See you soon.